What's good, YouTube? Alright, so the time is here. Tomorrow, I get admitted into Moffitt for my transplant. Just to show you all really quick, this is my central line. This is what we're going to use for my stem cell infusion. Now, I already have a port, but the reason why I need this line is because the tube of the port it's too thin for the stem cells to actually go through. They would get stuck or it would just take forever. So I needed a temporary avenue for the infusion. Other than that, man, I want to talk about the fact that I'm freaking out. Like this is terrifying. I really don't want to have to go through this, but well, what can you do? You know. So I really like the fact that Moffitt has been good to me. They've been treating me very well. I really feel like I'm in good hands, and I really have confidence that everything's gonna go well. But I'd be lying if I said that I wasn't scared. I'm terrified of what we're gonna do for lodging after Moffitt. Just to kind of explain what I mean. Once I'm out of Moffitt, so like once I get the transplant and I'm in inpatient for a few weeks, and they release me, I still need to live close to Moffitt for the rest of my 100 days after transplant. So I gotta figure out. Hopefully, they have Hope Lodge available for me, which is paid for by the American Cancer Society, which means it would be free for me. If not, I would have to figure out a hotel nearby that I have to stay, that's willing to have the specifications of cleanliness for a transplant patient like myself to stay in. And Moffitt has specifications with two hotels. They happen to be the most expensive ones, so we'll see how I figure that out. I'm gonna change out of this really quick, just a moment. Alright, that's much better. So I'm literally just pacing back and forth in my room, trying to figure out the clothes that I'm gonna be taking. So far, I'm gonna be taking this, some shorts, a few shirts, some sweatpants, because I don't really plan on getting like night out ready while I'm in inpatient. I'm kind of just gonna be bumming it all the time, so I'm not gonna be too difficult about it. But I don't know. I like to be comfortable and also look good. Also, one more thing. Tomorrow morning, I'm gonna shave. My admission time is around 12, so around noon or 1, and I'm gonna wake up at around 8 or 9 so that my dad can take a zero blade clipper to my head, because the chemo I'm bound to get is pretty much already guaranteed to make my hair fall out again. So I'd rather it fall out from me deciding to shave it off. I guess a few more things to talk about. Well, I had some issues with my central line today. In fact, as of right now, it is, not sure if you can see that, it's bleeding a little bit, which is normal. It happens. The problem is if this little bio patch is what's called, what holds the line in place. If that gets too saturated with blood, then I would have to go to Moffitt and have them change it and change the dressing, because I would be at risk of infection, and can't afford getting one right before transplant. I'm going to be at a huge risk of infection pretty much from the day that I get my first chemo, which would be tomorrow night. So that's going to make my numbers drop really quick. I'm going to get two chemo medicines. One's called fludarabine, and the other one is basulfin, I think. Don't quote me on that. I'm wearing my hats already because I'm deciding the kind of hats that I want to take with me to wear around the hospital. Somewhere in here I have a beanie that I can't find. I'm looking for it. Oh, also I shaved, clean shaved, because, well, I'm not allowed to use a razor at all while I'm inpatient, or actually I believe for the entire 100 days, until Moffitt tells me it's okay to use a razor, because Basically, anything that puts me at risk of infection. A cut to the skin is a big no-no. So I can only use electric razors and trim down my face. I can't actually clean shave. Took the opportunity to also shave my armpits. That's just a personal preference. I like to do that, so that it doesn't get too bothersome while it regrows. It doesn't get too long while I'm inpatient. Most important thing I want to mention, I guess, well, I already said it. It's that I'm scared. I'm I don't want to say I'm terrified because realistically I'm not, but I'm absolutely nervous. Now here's the thing: if I had to say, I'm like 49% scared and nervous. Yeah, about 49%, and then I'd say 51% excited to finally get this over with. And I know that I still technically have a long road ahead of me, but excited to finally start heading towards that goal of finishing all this. I mentioned before how the 100 days after transplant is the danger zone that I'm supposed to pass, and that's true. But realistically, I'm gonna be under like very intense watch until day 180. So, but basically, next year, the ending of January, start beginning of February for 2019. If I'm lucky, I can get back to work around December. That's what I'm crossing my fingers for, but that's like the best case scenario. There is a possibility that I could be out of work for an entire year, which I I really don't even want to think about. So I'm really hoping for the best. I'm hoping that my body stays resilient, like it's remained resilient during my consolidation phase, and handles this treatment pretty well. Somebody that I consider a good friend, and a person that I would have been working for, um, and someone in the legal firm that I was employed at prior to this whole situation. She's actually been dealing with a form of cancer as well, and she also had to get a bone marrow transplant. Um, but this wonderful person has already had it, and they told me that everything went as smooth as it can go, and that makes me very happy to know, one, because she's okay, two, because it gives me a certain amount of hope for myself. um, I don't know what else to say. Quite frankly, I just hope that everything goes okay. That's pretty much it. One final thing: during this whole process, if anybody ever goes through anything like this, whether you're getting a bone marrow transplant or you're just dealing with cancer in general, it's a scary world. It's a world of a lot of uncertainty, and mainly because your doctors will tell you there's a lot of uncertainty. But um, you're the person that knows what's going on the most, because you're the one experiencing anything. You gotta communicate with your doctors. You gotta let everybody around you know what's going on, and communication is key. That's what will prevent any bad situation from happening. The faster you can detect on something that's going wrong, the faster you can nip it in the bud and handle it appropriately. And that's what I plan on doing. I tend to be pretty stubborn. I'm usually the type of person that likes to be stoic with pain. In fact, right now I'm actually in a lot of pain because of this line. It feels very tender, it's very discomforting. I'm gonna have a bad night sleeping. But I already knew that I was expecting that. And yeah, um, I'm gonna be going over everything tomorrow through my Instagram. So I guess if anybody's watching this, if you don't follow me, follow my Instagram. I'll put my tag in the description. And I hope that this video was informative. Good night.